Hey crafters, this is Nye here. So today what we are going to do is we are going to assemble our Happy Easter freestanding shelf sitter. Now, as you can see, I have all of my pieces cut out. I have them lined up here in the order for gluing. Well, not really in the order for gluing, I guess. I just have them lined up and ready for gluing. I've got these green pieces here. This is going to represent the base and the grass of my craft here. And I'm just noticing that I've got a little bit of cardstock still there, so I'm just going to grab that really quick. I've also got this brown layer that's going to represent the post of my sign. I have the different layers for my sign, and these I have stacked up in the order for gluing. And you can see that each part of the design has a different color. So when you stack yours up, you should make sure that the wording is one color, the chick is one color, our carrots, and then our bunny is one color, and even the eggs are a color, okay? So make sure that you have them stacked up. And then I also have my egg pieces, which are going to kind of go sit here in the base. I have these pieces here that I'm going to glue with you guys. And then before I started the video, I already went ahead and I glued these for us, okay? So I will be using my art glitter glue here for all of my gluing. And I also have my bone folder that we will need today because we're going to need to make sure that our score lines here are crisp and sharp, okay? So let's get started. I'm going to move some things here out of the way. We're going to start here with our post, and you can see that I have these score lines facing up so you guys can see them, okay? And what we're going to do is we're just going to start folding on those score lines, okay? So we're going to start with this smaller tab here, and when you are gluing this post, I want you to take your time with it. You really want to make sure that all of your score lines here are going to be crisp, because if they're not, it's going to throw off the shape of your sign here, okay? So you really want to go through with your bone folder here and make sure that you're getting all of those score lines to be that perfect 90-degree angle, okay? It's going to be super important, okay? So again, you can see that I am just here pressing the score lines out. And I'm using my finger to kind of get it started. And then I'm coming back here with my bone folder, and I'm pressing very hard just to make sure that those lines are crisp. You can really, hopefully you guys can see that there through the camera. And I've got a bit of a shadow because I think today is just not a super sunny day here for me. And so I'm not really getting a lot of light from outside inside here. And I just want to make sure, like I said, that these are really coming out here, because if it's off even by just a little bit, it's going to throw off my sign. And so it does feel like this part is a little off here. I can kind of see it, so hopefully it'll still work out. Let me just go through this a little bit more here. You can kind of hear it. I'm like really pressing down. I really want to make sure that this is like perfect here. Okay, so you can see like once you have it, you can fold it together, and that's kind of the shape that we're going for here. At the bottom, what you can see are some more score lines. We're just going to open these up here. They are not going to be folded on top of each other or anything, but the opposite side here where you can see these tabs, these will be. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to fold again right on all of those score lines there. Okay, and then what we're going to do, I'm going to fold this part here just to get that going, is we're going to now, add a little bit of glue to the first tab. And then press and hold it together. Okay, and then when you do this, just press and hold it, you know, give it about 5 seconds, give that glue a chance to dry and bond, and make sure that it's flush and at that 90 degrees, because like I said, this is going to be super important. It could change the entire outlook of your sign here if it's off even just by a little bit. And it'll still work, it won't have that, like, I don't know, I guess you could say like, it'll just be a little crooked. And again, it's not a terrible thing, but If you're like OCD like I am, well, that might bother you. All right, so now for this part, in order to close it up, I'm gonna add glue to this tab that's still left. And I'm also gonna add glue here to the long part of this tab as well, because we're going to glue this down at the same time. All right, so I'm going to hold it here, press this in, and I don't want to get my fingers in too much of the glue here, but it just might happen anyway. And you can see that I am pressing this, and you want to make sure that it's completely flush here, because we don't want it to be off in any way. Okay, so it's kind of coming out a little wonky because I think I'm a little off there. All right. Because I kind of messed it up here just a little bit there at the bottom, but it'll be all right. We'll get it to work and it'll be fine. Okay. All right, I'm getting distracted. So I'm just gonna put that off to the side for a moment. And now let's see this green part here. When we have this green part, you can again see the score lines here. And what we are going to do is one more time, just really work here on these score lines by getting them all folded. All right, and so again, I'm using my bone folder. I'm folding on these score lines and then taking my bone folder to just make sure that they are crisp here. And I'm going to just get all of these score lines going here. Okay, so let's do this part. I still have the opposite side to do as well. And so for this part of this craft, it really is just a lot of folding and making sure that we're getting those score lines to really pop here and be sharp. All right, let's go both ways there. And then let's do this side as well. Okay, and what did I miss? This part. I was like, I knew that I missed one. Okay, so we're almost there. And I'm just gonna fold this one here by hand. Let's do it this way and then we'll go that way. Okay, so when you have it, now I'm folding again to the opposite side. So that way my score lines are facing towards the outside here. And I'm just going to fold all of my tabs so that way they go towards more of the inside. This is just going to be like creating a box here, but we have a couple things to do before we really start gluing it together. So let's do this part and there we go. Okay. All right, so now what I want you to do is grab your egg pieces. So like I said, I already did 2 of them before I started the video. And this one here, you can see that with the egg pieces, there's 3 pieces to it. One is going to be the front and one is going to be the back. And then we have like a centerpiece, which is just part of the egg. The 2 pieces that have the little tabs at the bottom, what you want to do, those are going to be the outside. And so we want the score lines to face towards the outside as we create like a sandwich. So I'm going to take the first one, bend it here at the score line, keep that score line facing the outside, and I'm going to add glue to the opposite, I can't talk, the opposite side of the score line here. Okay, so that's the side I'm going to add the glue. Then I'm going to take my middle piece and I'm just going to place that right there on the inside. Then I'm going to take the other one and again fold so that way the score line is towards the outside and the tab is towards the side of the score line. And then I'm going to add glue to the opposite side and then sandwich it together. Okay. Then once we have that, then you can take the tab pieces at the bottom, and what we're going to do is we're going to fish them through the little tiny slots in this green box that we have started, okay? So fish it through. It can't go all the way through. It's only going to go part way. We're going to add some glue to the tabs, And then we're going to open them up and press them down, just like that. And so our egg will kind of look like it's freestanding there in the grass. We're going to do that for all 3 of our eggs. You can do them in any way that you want. You could also even get a little fun here, and you could use pattern cardstock, shimmer cardstock here for the eggs. You know, have fun with it. All right, and then just pressing it down, and then make sure that it's kind of standing upright there on the other side. And then the last one, we're going to fish this one through, again, adding glue now to this side here, and then the opposite side, and then pressing it down. Okay. All right, so once you've got the eggs going and they're good, now we're going to start to put our box together. So flip it over just a little bit there, and we're going to start to kind of glue down the pieces of the box, okay? So first part that we're going to start with are the 2 side pieces, the side tabs that are going to glue towards this back part. So I'm going to add glue to this tab and this tab, and then I'm going to press and hold and give this a chance to bond. All right, so press and hold it there. Give it a chance to bond, and then do the same thing on the other side. If you need to, place it down on your table so that way you get a little bit more support here. Also, if you need to, feel free to go ahead and bend the paper a little bit to help maintain some of the structure. All right. Okay, so for this part, we're going to leave this part open, and then what we are going to do is we are now going to take our post and we are going to close it up here at the bottom just a little bit. So when you go to close it, take the 2 side pieces and then the 2 long pieces, kind of hold it there, add a little bit of pressure, and then fish it through the main slot here at the front. It's a little bit bigger, so it should go all the way through, and we're going to push it so that way it kind of really goes down there, okay? And when you do that and you have it on the other side, we're going to push it down a little bit far, and then we're going to open it up just like this. Okay, hopefully. I think for a second I was blocking there. And then we're going to add some glue now to this side. And this part, we have to work a little bit quickly, okay? So we're going to add glue now to these 4 tabs here, because these 4 tabs are going to glue to this part of the green. We're also going to add glue to the side pieces of the green here along the side here. So hopefully it didn't come out of my camera and you guys can still see this. So let me show you. I'm adding glue here now to these sides. So this side and that side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press them in and glue them right here. Okay. And just pressing it down. Okay. Now like I said, we're trying to work a little quickly here, but don't press the brown down just yet. I'm going to press it here on the inside to make sure that this part is glued down. I'm going to flip it to the other side and do the same thing. And then before I go and do anything else, what I want to do is just kind of make sure that it's not tilted in any way, this post here, okay? And when you go, you place it down, press it down here on the ground, or on your table, I should say, and then just press down with the post. So making sure, again, that it's not tilted. Then take your hands here on the inside, press them in on the inside, and press down on those tabs, okay? So let me show you. You can see that my fingers here are pressing inside on the tabs to glue them down to the bottom. Now, the one that's on the opposite side that you can't really feel, you just kind of have to work your way around on the inside in order to get to that spot there, okay? And then make sure, like I said, that it's not tilting in any way. All right, so there's a little bit of room for you to work there. And that looks great. I'm loving how mine turned out, okay? All right, so The next part then that we need to do, so you can look in and you can see everything that's happening inside. You can see that it's there. The next part that we need to do now is just to seal up the back here. So I'm going to add glue again to these two tabs, and then this longer tab, and then just close up the box. And when you're doing that, just, you know, be gentle, pressing and sealing along the way. And there we go. That looks great. All right. This looks awesome. Okay. So once you have it, then what we're going to do is we're going to add our grass layer. So let me tilt this here so you guys can see. So our two grass layers here, they're exactly the same, and they've got this score line right down the center. So just fold right there on the score line. And now what we can do is we can go ahead and add glue. Whoops, I totally went off there. To the side of the bottom. And then just press this down. Line it up and then press it down. Okay. Then we're going to do the same thing here. And then just pressing it down, pulling it across, and then just pressing it down and lining it up there at the bottom. Then we're going to do the same thing again, one more time, adding the glue here, then adding the grass. Okay. And then all four sides will be taken care of. And you'll notice that there's no tabs really here to connect, and you really don't need the tabs because we're using the same color here for these pieces. So they'll just kind of blend together, and so that'll make it okay. All right, so there we go. That looks awesome. I'm loving how it's turned out. Let's move on now to the sign. All right, so I put that off to the side, and basically for the sign, we've got about, I think this is like 7 layers here. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It is. So 7 layers here that we're just going to glue one right on top of the other. Like I said, when you are doing this, you want to make sure that you can see different colors for all of the pieces that are being shown here. So the duck, the carrots, the bunny, and the words are all a different color. The eggs and the words should be the same color though, okay? And then one more thing too, you'll notice that this back layer, these last 2 back layers, they're exactly the same. The reason why they're exactly the same is so that way when you look at this from the back, you're not seeing a different color compared to the sign at the front. So it just kind of seals it off. If you want, you don't technically have to cut this layer. You could just leave it with the orange and let it be orange. That's your choice. But I just feel like it finishes it off and makes it look a little neater to have the same color at the front and the back. But again, personal choice. All right, so what I'm gonna do now though is I'm gonna speed up the video because this is all going to be exactly the same with gluing. We're just, like I said, gluing one right on top of the other. The hardest layer will be, hold on, let me do this. Let me just glue this one down and then I'll flip it back over to show you. Okay, the hardest layer will be this purple layer here. I almost ripped my S. Will be this purple layer here with all of the pieces here that are cut out, because it'll just be a lot of gluing at the back and trying to make sure that you get everything glued down so nothing rips. All right, but other than that, it's going to be pretty straightforward. Okay, so I'm going to speed up the video now. It'll probably take me about 2 minutes to glue this and maybe 10 seconds for you guys. Okay, so once you get all of it glued down, you will now find that this is actually pretty heavy. Like you can tell that it's not 2 or 3 sheets of cardstock. This definitely has some weight to it. So when we are going to glue this down onto our post, we want to make sure that we are considering the weight of this sign part, okay? We don't want to glue our sign up so high, because what will happen is it'll put a lot of weight at the top part here of our post, okay? So what we want to do is we want to bring it down so it's kind of a little, most of the sign, the weight of it is onto the post part of our cardstock, okay? You also want to make sure too that you're not putting it too far over to one side or the other side. You're really kind of eyeballing it right there in the center of where the sign really is, okay? Now I'm going to show you how we're going to do it because there's no measurements for us. When you look at the sign here in the front, you're going to notice that this egg right here at the front is in the middle, the direct middle of the sign. Same thing with the carrot underneath. So when you're looking at it like this, you want to kind of eyeball that right where it is in the center. So you can see it kind of here and here, okay? Now I'm also trying to make sure that I am getting most of my sign onto the post. I'm not too far up at the top, but at the same time though, you don't want to have it so far down to the bottom that it doesn't look like a sign. All right, so I'm going to just take mine and probably pull it up just a little bit higher. And when I have it where I want, like that looks pretty good for me. So when I have it where I want, so I've probably got a solid inch here off of the sign. I'm going to hold it here in the center, and I'm going to take my hand and put my thumb right at the bottom of the sign here, okay? And then I can lift it up, and now I've got a measurement of where and how much glue I need to add, okay? So I'm going to add all of my glue everywhere above my thumb. I'm keeping my thumb there. I'm going crazy with my glue because I want it to stick and I don't want it to come off. And again, I'm lining up that egg and the carrot kind of right over where my thumb is, and then I'm pressing it down. Okay? And once you have that, that really finishes our project here. Okay, so I hope you guys really enjoyed this one. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I hope you have fun crafting. All right, thanks so much for watching. You can see one more thing, it is freestanding. All right, so happy crafting. Bye now.